You decided you wanted to create a membership and now it's time to sell it. Selling a membership is a little bit different than trying to sell a course or program. So in today's video, I'm going to show you the 3 main things you need to know and highlight in your copy on your sales page and when you're promoting a membership that's very different than selling any other program out there. These strategies will help you to boost sales and help people come back month after month so you actually have a membership that thrives and not just takes a nosedive. Let's get into it. So the reason I wanted to create this video is because a membership is a little bit different than a course or a program. A program, let's say it's a group coaching program, it has a set end and start date. Usually it's like 3 months, 6 months, a year. For courses, it's just kind of like a one digestible solving a problem issue. Memberships are just slightly different because they kind of combine both, especially as how our brains work, is that mysterious end dates don't really actually help us. So a lot of times when people are trying to sell a membership, it's through the model of focusing mainly on the community element, like you'll get this community and accountability forever. That sounds nice, but our brains, when we're going to a membership page, is still similar enough to a course where it's, why do I need this right now? What problem is this going to solve for me? Beyond the community. So I'm saying this because community alone will not be why they buy, but it'll be why they stay long term. So a lot of times people focus who are creating the membership, you focus on the community aspect. But if there's one thing you can take away from this video is that the community element is a bonus, but it is not the focus starting point of the membership's value in your customer's eyes. At the end of the day, they're still looking for a problem to be solved. This was a slap in the face for me because when I was creating my community, the Neurodivergent Hobby Club, I started off thinking, of course, like the main thing is the community. I have to go for the community. It has to be the reason why they're coming, but it's not. Because the main problem that I was hoping to focus on was helping people to show up more for their hobbies. Sounds great. So you'd think, of course, you want a community that helps you show up for your hobbies. But what about for the people who like to do their hobby alone, but they just really suck at showing up for their hobbies? How do you really go about that then? That's where this changes. And I can actually show you the exact changes I made on my intro section so you can see this first challenge highlighted in a very clear way. This might just be too much of a simple example, so let's go with it though. So I just want to show you, even in this call to action, the difference that this evokes. So you'll see here, the design was not fully done at this point, but the main 2 sentences stay the same, which as you can tell, are actually solving a problem. It's finally start and keep hobbies for more than a weekend without the pressure to keep the same one forever, right? Sounds good. The button though is get started for as low as $19, cancel anytime, no pressure, which is a good thing to say, but the issue is it becomes more about getting started and canceling, but not so much highlighting more of this problem and the solution. And this is the first, like when you first show the page, I'll show it in a second. Again, the design was not fully there yet, but as you can tell, this is the finalized one. These first 2 sections stayed more or less the same, but the call to action, find an easy way to stick with your hobby of the week guilt-free. Now, when you look at this first section, you might be like, oh, I don't know if this is a membership for sure or not. That's because I am wanting to focus on the reason why they came to this page in the first place. It is to solve a problem. So as you can tell here, this is the current page is again, and this is the hack, is that even though this is a membership, and you'll see below as I talk about it here, is that when you focus on the community in the first few scrolls of your page, you're taking away the main reason why they came to you in the first place. Almost every membership, any offer in business is to solve a problem. Even if the problem is solving tying your shoes, solving how to have a better day, solving how to blink more. But at the end of the day, all of offers in business that you're charging money for is to solve a problem. Or obviously it is to get, have a desire, build a better life. All of those are still problems you're helping to solve. Just the way you're going about it is different than a course or, a program would be. So I'm saying this because that was the biggest mistake I could have made, was making this focused in the first half on the community elements, the community focus, like it being a membership, like focusing on these words being more around accountability, a group that gets you. Even though those are true, that's not why they landed on the page in the first place. They want help with their problem being solved, and then the community element in here. So that's why you'll see this first half of the page, as I'm mentioning here as well, is it's more focused on the what you get. Why are you wanting to be here? Even inside of this first part, I'm going into, what makes you want to join is probably you've had these issues where you start and stop hobbies, where you're not alone. I still mention stuff like that. And I even say, here we help you find small ways, but I'm focused 90% of and the copy on them, on the problem that I'm solving. And then almost, as you can see the scrolling feature, I'm almost halfway to the page where it then says, if this sounds familiar, like this is a community that gets you. And you'll see for the rest of this, I'm still focusing on the problem it's solving and what to join, like what they get when they join. And then I'm slowly adding in the accountability rooms, talking about the support they get, talking about why they want to stay longer. That's all in here, but I don't lead with it. Because when you lead with accountability and lead with that support, although it's what they're going to stick around for, it's not focused on the immediate reason why they want this in the first place. Again, they're going to stick around for the community for the long term, but it's not going to be why they convert in the first place. So the best thing that you can start to do as an audit for your page or when you're creating the page, for the first half or at least the first 3 sections, focus mostly on them, on the problem that you're solving, on like why your membership is different and unique from the problem and solution aspect, and then bring in the community element. You can still say the word membership somewhere, but when you make the main selling angle be that the community element's there in the first half, it's not going to be as enticing or as urgent for them to want to buy. Remember that these memberships, because they don't have any type of end date, it ends up happening where people just say like, oh, I'll go into it whenever I want to. It's always going to be around. And that creates that level of figure it out later. So when you actually focus this first part on the problem they solve, which is actually, again, similar to a course page, you help them to see that urgency of joining because it's solving a problem that they have right now. So again, the word problem might not work right for you. Maybe a topic that they have a really big interest in right now. But if you can focus on this part, I will tell you it'll make a difference in your sales and also your retention rate, because people are going to be wanting to join, obviously, to help you have them solve their problem or even to like have the desire or life they want because of it, but they'll stay because of the community. So if I can focus on that and focus on that in your page, you will be farther ahead than a lot of other membership pages out there. Now we talked about the first thing that really matters. The second is going to be how to learn how to communicate the features in regards to your buyer types and the engagement types and how they consume things without it feeling mandatory or overwhelming. Because the thing about memberships, you want people to come back and back and back. So a lot of people will do this as a way to either create continuous content, which I think is still a good thing to do, like monthly drops or challenges, but also they'll focus on like stuffing so much there. So it's like a deal on why you want to stay, which is great, but no one's going to want to stay in a platform or something that feels overwhelming to them, right? So it's why I recommend when you think about your sales page, you already need to know your kind of like the main buyer types to go for. So people who are going to buy quickly, impulsively, kind of just like need the information and go. It's kind of why, as you saw on my page earlier, I had that quick TLDR page for those who like, I just want to know what it is and join. There's a lot of others though who are going to be needing more information, needing more personal stories. All of that is needing to be embedded into your page, which I go into deeper in my other products and courses. But there's also the engagement types, because the element of memberships is slightly different than a program would be or a course. Where a program, there is a set end date. So you're not like thinking about how am I actually going to enjoy this? You're like, I just want to help solving a problem that is cheaper in a group program than it is in a one-to-one and get to meet cool people for that allotted time. For a course, it's more like I just want the information. But a membership, it really matters about how they're going to engage with the content and also with the community in there. So I say this because sometimes people focus so much on one type of engagement style. So what I mean by that is, I know in my own membership is that I talk a lot around making sure to have multiple elements, multiple features for different types. So for me, like when I'm in a community, I know for myself, I get overwhelmed if there's like too many things happening, if there's like too many, if you know, the feed's getting blown up or anything feels overwhelming with a lot of information. But I really enjoy sessions, like live events or like recorded sessions that I can like pop on. I know I can like dedicate like an hour of time to and then pop off. Like that's kind of my style. There's others though who are the complete opposite. They enjoy mostly like responding to comments and being in the posts, but don't really have the time to want to join like the live sessions. When you can start to identify that, similar to how you should have something on your page for each buyer type, have something on your offer or highlight something in your offer that's for each type. And under that, for the engagement type, say it's not mandatory for you to like do all of this. It's kind of a choose your own path, because a lot of memberships will focus so much, will not talk about, hey, you don't have to do this if you don't want to do this. That's great. We don't hear that often anymore in terms of communities. If you can show them that these are all created as a way to help you consume the content better and in a way that your brain wants to work with it, you will go leaps and bounds farther in selling this versus feeling like, oh, they have to join all the sessions live. They have to do all these things. There's different ways to learn. There's also different ways to engage and different ways to also sell to people as well. I know that sounds like a lot. It's like, why do I have to do all of these customizations for different people? Because at the end of the day, memberships are about the person, as any offer is, but especially for a community where they want to be around over and over, it has to work for them. And I have a really good example of this I want to show you, because this is something where you have to know different types of engagement styles. So the easy way to do this is just going to be talking about under each feature, just highlight it as a way to show them that what you're doing is for them and that you can take it or leave it. You can still find great success if you don't join the sessions there. You can put this also in the FAQ section as well, because people are going to have that question. They're going to say, do I have to show up live to these sessions to get what I need out of the program? Do I have to do X, Y, and Z thing? Like, how often do I have to do this? People care a lot around, is their time worth it? Like, we do value our time, and we value our time about the same as money for most people. Unfortunately, it can be flipped. But especially for a membership, you have to think about it in that way. Like, how making their time is not just worth it to solve the problem, but worth it in a way that works for them. And that will make it a lot easier for you to sell this when you can highlight those for all the different types of engagement styles without having it feel mandatory or forced for them. Now, the third is going to be, don't focus on selling the platform that your community membership is on. I say this because a lot of times I did an entire video about like choosing which right membership platform matters, because people have different types of experiences in different programs, but also they have different types of biases around different platforms. So for example, if you had a community that was inside of Slack has a natural work association. Like in our brains from the marketing and also like how it's mainly used for teams, we see it used most in organizations. So when you try and create a community on it that's not business focused, people's brains might short circuit a little bit and be like, I don't know if I want to be on here because I'll feel like it's kind of like work. So if you know what those associations are, it allows you to get a step ahead of it by just not leading with it. And I don't mean you're like not telling anybody about what they're on. Obviously, if you want to put that in the FAQ section or put that somewhere in an email, you can. But I think what I see too often is people put in the what you get section, like those different elements, and they'll focus on this program is in Facebook. Well, also a lot of people are leaving Facebook. People don't want to be in Facebook all the time. So there's things like that where different platforms are going to have their own biases, right? It's inevitable. There's not a perfect platform out there, or else we wouldn't have so many options for memberships or really anything. So when you know that, and you don't, again, similar to number one, where you're not leading with the community, you're leading with the content and what it solves. Similar here, you don't want to lead with a thing that might be deterring them or that they don't really realize is best for them, but they don't really know it yet because they haven't experienced your membership. So I'm saying this because you can still have it placed, I would say, further down on the sales page, or even just like a small mention, but don't make it something inside of your what you get section where it's talking about, where it's hosted. They don't really need to know that unless you have an audience that prefers a specific type of platform or they hate one. And I say that because I've seen people who will ask the creators, is this in Facebook? I don't really want to be in there. Or is this in Discord? I don't want to be in there. It feels too heavy. If you get a lot of those questions, then definitely make sure you talk about it in the FAQ section, because that will come up. But for the majority of the page, I would keep it platform free, because again, people are wanting to solve a problem. They don't really need to know as much yet about the community. And like, because you're creating the community, it's a great community. They just have to give it a shot. And sometimes our own biases can make it harder for us to want to give something a shot. Even if it does sound good, we're like, oh, I don't know, Facebook doesn't sound good, or I don't really want to be in Slack again. If you can just have that somewhere else without having it take up more space and like the prime page, that's going to be the best use case for this, because at the end of the day, we have to make sure we really focus on how people enjoy buying. And sometimes it can be their way of talking themselves out of the offer by finding those small hiccups like, I don't like Facebook and this is in Facebook groups. Having that ability to still show it, still be transparent, but not lead with it will make your life a lot easier. And bonus tip, in case you still have a lot of resistance that people come to you with, and have a quick little video that shows them inside the group, the sections on what you created, the features on why you chose this place, so people feel a little less intimidated to want to join and like, oh, this actually felt really intentional about why you chose this place, versus it feeling more just like you just chucked us all in a group and now we're here. So you can do those walkthrough videos, can help. Don't do them too long, because sometimes also I think people can use it as a way to talk themselves out feeling like there's too many features. Focus on like the three main things that are in your group or membership that you chose for a reason, that's going to help them to solve their problem faster or to get better results from this, and you'll find a lot easier of yeses because of that. Now, final bonus, because I like to over deliver. The final thing is you do need to have something that is a taste or trial of your membership before they join. Not always. I will say that, like, there are people who just are ready to join. It's why having different buyer types matters. There are people who are just like, I'm just going to join. It's amazing. Great. But there's people who are going to need more time to digest it, to understand what it's about. If you can create some type of trial or explanation videos or something that helps them to kind of like get the taste of what it would be like inside of there. You don't have to always do free trials. I'm mixed on if they work always, but they do help. For me though, I prefer to have experiences that I can repurpose and use for both the membership but also the in-person person. So now that we've talked about the three main things that'll help your membership convert more and keep people coming back by having these three things on your page, I highly recommend you try it out, or at least try one and go from there. You don't have to do them all at once, but it will help out a lot. Thank you for watching, and I hope this video has been helpful to help you see the three main strategies to start to add into your sales page to help it sell, since they are a little bit different than a course would be, but so effective and can be a really good long-term model for you if it's set up correctly. If you found this video helpful, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. It really helps out the channel to grow and help more people like you find the answers that they need around selling and scaling their online business. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below, and until the next video, happy selling.